I think we're good.
Yeah, we're good. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm sorry we were here a bit late, but we had some, of course, shenanigans, internet shenanigans, but I'm glad to be here today with you. And I'd like to welcome our special guest, okay? We'd like to welcome Meg from Mama Sezz. And we're going to answer quite a few questions today, how she manages work-life balance and about her business, which I'm really proud of. So good afternoon. My name is Marie Piazza, and I'm a health coach, and I work with entrepreneurs over 45 women who want to merge business and down their work done, as well as take self-care very, very seriously. So today we're going to talk about some of that. And if you have any questions, if you're on the chat, please do let me know, and I'll have a quick look each time. So Mama Sezz is a whole food, plant-based meal delivery company that Meg created, and I'm going to have her introduce herself and tell you a bit more about that. But I just recently met her, and I think she's fantastic. When I read about her story, I was very interested in having her on this page for many reasons, because I like veganism, whatever they call it, and raw food, because I love that style of eating, although I've now created something of my own that's a mishmash of everybody. And also my children are very much into this as well, which I'm amazed at, because it must have been reverse osmosis that they managed to pick that up along the way during my working with clients and having strange food in the fridge, which I didn't tell them don't eat it. I didn't make them eat it. They just investigated. So Meg, welcome. Welcome. I'm in St. Lucia, Meg's in Vermont, so welcome. Tell me today now, I've got a couple of questions for you, and I want you to tell us more about you. First of all, introduce yourself in a nutshell and go ahead.
Absolutely. First, thank you. I'm excited and delighted to be here. I love what you do, and your energy, your passion, and the way that you help people. It's that's a part of our ethos as well. And my name is Meg Donahue, and I am a co-founder of a whole food plant-based meal delivery company, and we deliver ready-made, fresh meals nationwide to direct to customers, and we also sell retail as well. So that's
okay, Meg, a little bit closer to the microphone if you could, because it's kind of cutting out a little bit, so I can't really hear you as much. I'm sure everybody else is there too. So, okay, so you have this delivery service that is for seniors.
A part of it is for seniors. One of how we got started, and I can jump in there, is I've had owned businesses all my life. I've been an entrepreneur, owned and sold companies, and my co-founder and partner owned a very large organic food company, and we sold that. And I'm in my 50s. I had a daughter late in life, and so I thought I was going to be in kind of an easier street, maybe doing a little less work. And as it turned out, the day that I had my daughter, my mom, who was in hospice care at the time, I was 49 when I had my baby, and my mom was 80 and in hospice care. She came to the hospital. I was very sick, and to see me, because the truth was, one was going to die. We were all very sick. And that day that she came, my sister brought her, because she obviously couldn't drive or barely walk. I had my daughter, and my mother collapsed as well at the hospital. So we were all in ICU. My daughter was born 3 months early. She's totally healthy now. But we were all in ICU for 3 months. And during that time, I researched. My mom was very sick. I researched who has survived this, because she was really, this was the end game. And they said a whole food plant-based diet. And at the time, we all, to make the story short, we all, my daughter and I were fine. We went home, and my mom couldn't go back to her house. And so I said, let's go back to our house. I had an extra apartment on our property. And so we brought her home and started feeding her a whole food plant-based diet. Now, we had been in the organic business for years, very large. We were the private label bakers for Whole Foods and Trader Joe's, so understood that world, but didn't really connect the dots between exactly what the power of plants. And so I just started feeding my mom like a bird. I mean, just little smoothies, tiny. And gradually she got better, which was kind of remarkable. little bit. You know, it wasn't immediate because, you know, her organs were literally, you know, failing. And so she would be at the hospital and then back and then back. And, but over a year, which is a long time for hospice care, she got better and better. And that was when she was 80. She's 86 now. So obviously doing a lot better. She swims 4 times a week. She drives, she travels, she's very energetic. So it was a miracle in what we could see. And it's all documented.
I mean, amazing. So I want to ask you then, so when you started feeding your mother this way, how did she respond to that? Did she enjoy that type of food? Was she very receptive to it? Was it something that she knew was doing good for her, or something she'd been familiar with before? Because I know when people, we're going to talk in a while about sandwich generation. I know when people get older, they have their set way that they want to eat, and it's very hard to have them jump onto what they consider the fad kind of eating that we're all doing now, these things that we're exploring. So how did she receive that? She was
really so sick that she wasn't even that aware for the first 6 or 7 months. That's the truth. And she was that, you know, tea and crackers generation where that's what they ate for dinner. But her improvement was so dramatic, and that she kind of got on board. And one of the things that I noticed and why we started the company is that eating a whole food plant-based diet, my health, I mean, I had other things. I had arthritis. I was a competitive tennis player, and I would get up in the morning and my hips were hurting. I had, you know, kind of these weird autoimmune things that people kind of into their 40s, or renal overload, all of those. I was getting pneumonia, and I was what I considered a very healthy person. I exercised, I've always been active, but those things got better. And I had beginnings of macular degeneration, and it got better. And so this got my attention.
I love that. I love that you did that, because it was so close to home. And then you could create it into a business because you started it with such loving kindness for your mom.
It's true. It's a labor of love. You know, we really could have just said, okay, let's go to Florida and retire and enjoy this phase of our life. But something happened when I realized that the only thing that we had done differently is we changed somebody's diet. And then I said, this isn't like, you know, eat chia seeds and you're cure cancer. There's a science going on here, so let's find out what it is. And so I went to Cornell. They have a fantastic plant-based nutrition certificate program, very, you know, it's well thought of, and it's kind of the seminal research is there where you can see that there has been research for years on what you can do simply by adding more plants. And we said, why don't we know this and doing it? And I'm not a big cook, which is kind of interesting that I have a food company. But I thought people don't do this because it's kind of hard, it's unusual, and the food is weird. And so what if we could make it easy, make the food relatable? Our food, we do like comfort food. I have brothers who are football players, and I said, if they won't eat it, if they look at their plate and they go, where's dinner? You know, this is a salad. That doesn't cut it. We have to make food that they go, this real, filling, hearty, you know, relatable. And we have to make it easy for people to do it. And it became a mission. You know, we have a saying in our offices that says, because it matters. And at this point in our life, you know, I'm in my mid-50s. You know, we've got however many more years. I don't know. Even eating plant-based, you never know. I just want to feel good for whatever many years I have, and I feel great. But for this part of our life, let's just do something that matters to us and put all of our effort there.
Fantastic. I think it's fantastic what you're saying. What I'm hearing is that we've had all this information. We have, even from me growing up at school as a child, we actually ate more plant-based vegetables, and we plant-based meals when I was growing up.
Right.
Because things like meat and chicken stuff was expensive as well if you're trying to grow a family. So that was the balance of it. And then when people got more affluent, they could afford chicken or beef, then that took up more space on the plate. And also, don't forget the media has helped us, because there are people now in the generation that's coming up who have an interest in plant-based diets, and who now will research and be journalists who will ask questions and interview people. So now we're getting the information, and the studies that have been there all along is becoming mainstream, because people are actually living that way themselves. And it's that shift, isn't it? That shift in the generations. That this is the time. This is the time for it to happen.
Absolutely right. And people are, with the internet, you have just such an amazing amount of information. One of the things that we realized is that it's an overwhelming, and there's a lot of great information. So what we tried to do is to be very science-based. We work with a lot of folks in medical doctors and health professionals to make sure that what we're saying and creating is actually very good for you. That's why we're a whole food, plant-based, not we don't call ourselves vegan, because vegan, you can have a lot of processed bad food. But we said, let's just make great food, and let's make it a big tent.
Do you deliver all the meals, or do you cook the meals in-house? What do you do to feed them?
We have a production facility. So we have a big plant with a big shipping facility, and we make, instead of dinner, we make you your favorite whole food plant-based aunt who comes over with a casserole. So we give you you get like a big gardener's pie that serves 3 to 4 people. You get, a great big veggie loaf, a lazy lasagna. So stuff that's going to be in your fridge. You're going to have dinner, and then you're going to have lunch the next day. Yeah. And it's really hearty and relatable. We're a big tent. We're not meat shamers. I wasn't like, boom, I'm whole food plant-based. I get it. Even with my mother miraculously, surviving this and coming.
It's time. There's always a time for everybody, isn't it? Yeah. There's always a time.
So we try to be very open and say, if you eat a little more, if everyone ate a little bit more like this, it's great for the planet. It's great for your health. And it's great for the economy. So we try to be very.
My son Dario would love to hear you say that. My son Dario and his girlfriend, they would love this conversation. I must make sure they get this, because they're like, they live in Wales, and they are really into everything. And they send me videos and send me studies, and they're doing some really, really, really good things. I
would love to talk with them, because and we talked about the sandwich generation, and you pointed out something really critical with folks who are older. It's harder to eat this way because they're changing a whole worldview. And
let's talk about the sandwich generation. Let's talk about the sandwich generation right now, then, because we're right there, and I want you to tell us what that means, because some people are saying, "What is a sandwich generation?"
It's the way that I have heard it and explain it is that it's the people who are in their 40s and 50s who still have children at home and whose parents need care. And, we're in a society where families get dispersed. And so parents are sometimes, it used to be multi-generational households were the norm, and now it's different. So it adds an extra burden on people who still, of course, love and want the best for their parents and their children. But it's harder to do when your parents are 2 states away or even 2 towns away. We had the benefit of having my mom close by, but there's a stress to it. So we thought, what if we and that's when we said, let's do something where we it's called an elder bundle, for older parents. And it's a little bit smaller servings, but all food that we think they will be very familiar with. It's just plant-based and whole food. And so very healthy for them and easy for them to eat.
I love that. And I love the way you make the pie, which means it would be like sharing and communities. They're not like eating a kind of a TV dinner type thing by themselves, looking lonely, like a single person. It's true, because the teens do that when they're at school, and then when you get older, you're relegated to that as well. It's like they package you up. I'm very fortunate to have my parents still alive. My dad's 81, my mom's 76. They've always eaten very well. And that sandwich generation thing really hit home with me, because here I am. I'm going to be 60 next week. So,
oh my God, I never would have guessed that. You look amazing.
Yes. I had my last son at 42, so that, you know, I had a late pregnancy as well. But the thing is that I feel like I'm just beginning. But if I get another 20 or 30 years, I want to live it so high quality and so vibrant. So it's very important to me. It's not I don't even recognize a number for me to say 60, because I just feel like me. And my goal is not to wait for the next 60 or 70 or 80. I get good examples from my parents. But what I'm saying is the sandwich generation, what we already have, we've got our kids, then we have, they're becoming, they're small children, then we have the teens, then we have maybe the ones that at home. Sometimes family has those 3 different generations in the family. And as a mother, you become now your parents' mother, your children's mother, and you've got your business, another mother for your business. So you've got more things going on, and you do need support and help. But it's like you didn't factor that in, because when our parents get older and we get older, we don't really see that coming.
No, I think, and even if you do, I don't know if you really do. You know, it's like you don't quite know what it's like to have kids until you have kids. It's different to experience it, and I think everyone's situation is, you know, has different challenges. But what we've tried to do here is to say, what we have is something really unique, and how can we help people also have that? How can we? It's a very special thing to be able to have a multi-generation.
Will you share that in the world? Will you share that with communities? Will you share that, how people can do that within their community? I'm going to put your website up there as well, so people can go and see what you do. Because I think it's so amazing, because I'm looking at all that you do as an entrepreneur, and then you also have this business as well, that where you are feeding healthy food to the generation that brought us up on healthy food. So you're giving back.
And it feels amazing. And, you know, one of the things that I think is also, you know, my mom, from a very physical, you know, and it's documented at Dartmouth, which is one of the top hospitals in New England. What happened to her and her heart, she had under 10% heart function, and it's near normal now. That's amazing. And it's a physical, you know, it's something physical happened. And it was, I believe, the whole food plant-based diet was the majority of it, or a big part of it. Another part is this community sense that when families disperse and people's relations and their friends are dispersed, that daily interaction and uplifting of people, love, is what also is a big part of the healing. And, you know, we focused on the food piece because this is something that we have a background in and can do. But as important to us is that there is this sense of community, because it's a scary time and there's a huge uncertainty and people are freaked out and they're, you know, scared. And so how do you mitigate that? You know, and for me, I mitigate it with my friends and my family and the people who bring me comfort, not because they do anything special, but just because they're my people and I can share with them. And it's very simple.
I love that. I mean, we could have a whole conversation just about this, because I think that the things that have been done in the world, and we will be the elderly at some point, I suppose. I think people think we're the elderly already. My kids think it's older already, but you know. And I said, when I was in my teens, I wanted to be 20. When I was 20, I wanted to be 25. Then I wanted to be 30. Then I thought 40 is like ridiculously old. And I don't know what I'm going to do when I get to 40. For me. And I'm just actually loving everything that's going on with my life, and despite the age. So give me some nuggets that you live by in trying to get your work-life balance in. What kind of nuggets do you think that there's a ritual, something that you do on a daily basis, or at least 3 times a week, which you know benefits you and you can fit it in?
Yeah. I think, you know, in one way I was really lucky. I was in the 20s, my 20s, I was a wild child. you know. So I had a relief and realized that my body couldn't sustain it. You know, I couldn't like do it all. And so I had to come to grips with some pretty big things as a mid-20s kid, and got some balance there of I needed to be able to figure out when I was off the beam. And it doesn't mean that I'm always on the beam. It's that I know the signs when I'm off the beam. And what I do on a daily basis or semi-daily basis is I have a check-in with myself, at night. Where are you? How did your day go? What could you have done better? Do you need to make any apologies or anything like that? There's less and less of those these days as you get older. And I do very simple things. Stretch a little bit. I don't put a whole lot of stress on myself to like go do a bunch of stuff, but I try to find 2 or 3 things a day that I just enjoy doing. I enjoy reading. So I try to read a little bit, not news, not stuff that'll kind of amp me up, but just fiction and maybe some nonfiction. I call friends who make me laugh because that's my connection. Or I call my sister, who is also a dear friend, and we chat almost every day. I have friends from college who I call almost every day. So those are the things that, I know myself, and I know I don't have an expectation of super balance. I know it's a big life. I know I get exuberant about stuff. I know I take it too far. I know I'm going to get overtired. And I kind of have acceptance around, so I'm not beating myself up like, oh, you should have. Just, this is who I am. I am going to go full bore. I know I'm going to get a little tired. I'm going to take care of myself. I mean, I always eat well because it's easy now. I own a company that gives me the food, and I always have.
Right.
I have a daughter, so I model. I go to bed at a reasonable time, and I get up at, so I keep some standard things. I try to keep it kind of light about myself. I mean, we do very serious work, and in a physical plant where you're producing that type of food, it's very, it's very serious. But I try not to take myself too seriously, and I know when I am, or I'll call somebody.
What I'm hearing for you is that you have meaningful connections, and you give and enlist support. You are very well connected to yourself to know what your limits are and what you can do, and you recognize the things that are going to take you on the beam or off the beam. So you have a self-awareness that works for you, and you're already eating healthy. So that takes even more stress off of having to think about food every 5 minutes a day, because that's taken care of. And, your movement, go ahead.
Oh, that's fine, yeah.
So I'm just trying to, in a nutshell, tell you what you're doing, which people would like to do, and which is it's commendable to me, because it's small wins that you. So the water, going to bed at reasonable time, waking up refreshed, all those things are just really small things I've been asking people to do. Drink an extra free glass of water or a liter of water a day,
Exactly.
get enough sleep, and also exercise, but non-traditional. Just add some movement, whether it's gardening or dancing or walking the dog. Stay limber. And then when you get inspired and you feel better, you can go to do more. I myself was like a personal trainer. I taught 12 or 15 classes every single week for years. I started off as a track and field athlete in school. So I've been using my body over and over again. And actually, I thought that my body is really done wonders for me. But at the same time, when I stopped doing some things and I started to chase exercise and doing more and more and more as I got older, the more and more did work for me. It actually it went reverse, and I thought I had some extra credits from years of exercising and eating well that would serve me forever. So I'd never have to work out again and worry about what I eat. But I was wrong. I still had to be mindful, but not so obsessed.
It is, it's like any kind of spiritual exercise. there's an amnesia to it. So you have to do it daily. You know, we brush our teeth daily. We eat well daily, and you have accumulative benefits, but it doesn't last. So you just, that's how I think of it. There are certain little things that I need to do every day. Some of them are physical, some of them are mental and spiritual. Acceptance is big. You know, it was total chaos here in my household this morning. You know, company, lawn, people, puppies, kids. You know, it was nutty.
But it's life. Nice. It's life. It's your life. It's life. You have a full life.
It's life.
A full life.
Right.
So what can you tell somebody who wants to explore? I know there's a lot of information on the internet, a lot of information out there, plant-based foods and do this and do that. I still feel that people feel at a loss because when it comes to plants, we're not very creative. I must admit I am, because I couldn't bear to have things on my plate that were not of interest to me. And I didn't feel like I was forced to eat something because it's good for me. I want it to taste good and look good as well. Yeah. So for me, colors on my plate and taste are very, very important. But what would you suggest to someone to do to start to work to put more plants on their food, on their plate, and how can they be more creative?
Yeah, there are a lot of sites with great recipes, and you know, I started kind of simply and eased into it for myself. So adding, you know, 1 or 2 meals that are plant-based, and then, you know, a little less meat, because I was still kind of hung up on, well, where do you get your protein and all of that? You know, there's a lot of misinformation. And what I tell people is, you know, the name of our company is Mama Sezz, and the idea is do like your mama says, eat your fruits and veggies, go outside and we try to keep it very simple. Like your mama says, eat your fruits and veggies, go out and play.
Ask you what that meant. And now I know what it is. Mama says, that's yes, right. Do this, do that.
So just keep it very
simple.
And don't get it complicated, because the more you, and this is a relatively new thing too. Historically, people weren't parsing out this. I ate this much protein, this much carb. I mean, nobody 50 years ago had to have like a nutrition degree to eat a meal. And so, but that has come along with marketing and a lot of other things that now all of a sudden everybody looks for the box that says added protein on it. And those things aren't really necessary. If you are
in saying that now, you're right. I'm hearing you. Sorry to interrupt, but I got to tell you that I'm so bad at following recipes or looking up recipes online. I will watch chef this, chef that, food this, food that, but I am so bad at following recipes because I'm always tweaking. So what I've done for myself is that I just experiment and create things, and by trial and error, and just be open to try a new vegetable and ask someone how to present it. That's what I do, because when I look at the recipe and half the time I don't have half the things on the list.
Yeah, they can be overwhelming, and that is true. And I'm not a big recipe follower. I mean, luckily we have chefs who create our food.
Right.
Me. But I like food that is good, and I think you just expressed exactly what you need: an open mind, a little bit of education, and then jump in for real. If you really want to feel the benefits, you have to do it, and so just do it. You know, I said I can do anything for a month, so you try it, or you can do anything for a week. I guarantee that if you ate whole food plant-based for a month, just tried it, or even 2 weeks, you will feel better. And you know, things like your blood pressure will go down. And these are just natural, you know, repercussions of eating a whole food plant-based diet because of the interactions with your body. And it's,
I had a client who had to get her blood pressure down and her sugar levels down, because they were very, very high. And she was obviously as well overweight, but she had a busy, stressful job. And so in the 6 months that we were together, she was surprised. I did more vegetables and fruit than she'd ever had before. And just that change, she still ate her meats and everything else, but she just started to get less and less of them, but her plate changed. So when we got to about month 5 and she went to get her checkup again, her sugar levels went back to normal and her blood pressure went back to normal, and her stats were so good. And what we discussed was that she wasn't going crazy. She wasn't becoming obsessed or a kind of like a guru fixture on the food and, food police. And I wasn't like the food police with her. She made those steps and changes that she grew into. So we created a plan that worked for her and that she can continue expanding or honing in. And that's what I try to tell people. It's not all or nothing. You could go vegan for one meal or for a day, or for an hour, or it could be anything, but you start somewhere. And even if it's not perfect, what you do is you keep going.
Just eat a little bit more. The truth is, the number one diseases in the United States: hypertension, heart disease, diabetes 2, and obesity. Foodborne illnesses, they're avoidable, and most of them are reversible. And so. Yes. But it's very hard. I mean, I'm resistant to change everything. Who can do that, really? And it sets people up for failure. It's like you just said, hey, add a few more of these meals to your day, to your week, see how you feel. And that, we like to say, we're attraction, not promotion. The better you feel about something, the more you sow. But if somebody's kind of pulling you into it or banging you over the head with shoulds, and then you start getting into weird food issues. And one of the things that I've noticed, speaking of weird food issues, is that a lot of people have them. I had them, when I was younger. But one of the things I've heard over and over from women and men is that when they switch to a whole food plant-based diet, or primarily one, they unhooked from something. And what it was is that kind of obsessive voice about food that we've been thinking has been driven by our psychology. In fact, it's been driven by our biology. And when you take out the chemicals, you no longer have the cravings. And to just have that quietness.
That's so true. Yes, because the cravings, they go.
And we're thinking, there's something wrong with my willpower. There's something wrong with my ability to handle my food. When in fact, you're being driven by something. It's ticking. So when you take that out, all of a sudden there's this quiet and this amazing amount of space for creativity and energy effortlessly. And that's one of the things that's been the most rewarding, is to see so many people come back and go, I feel so free from that thing that no matter what diet I was on, I was always in resistance to or in conflict with. And when you take that out of the picture, it's not even like you're struggling with food, because it's not even there. You're not feeding that anymore. You're over here. And you're free.
But it does take time. It does take time, and it does take perseverance and being forgiving of yourself to keep going, even though you screw up. That's what I say. Even if you screw up, just carry on, because something good is in there. Something good will come out, and then one day you'll say, oh, I don't feel that anymore, and I don't want that anymore. And what happened? It just kind of came upon me, but it's been building up all over time.
Right.
Yeah. So. Wow, this has been such a wonderful, wonderful conversation
you're
with you.
You're wonderful. The work that you're doing, your approach, from what I have heard and talking with you, it's right on. That allowing people to have their own process with it. And there are a lot of answers, and you find your own zone when you experience it yourself, and you can get guidance on it. But to be gentle in that process, because it's a short life. Even if you live a lot of years, it's relatively short. So. We're very hard on ourselves, and we can ease up.
One more last thing. Give me a little snapshot of what your day is like. Just quickly go through your day from the time you wake up, all the things that you have to do, and then where you have the squeeze of space in for yourself. Yeah.
Yeah. So I get up. I have a daughter that I get to school. I have a puppy that I feed. Partner. We say hello. We catch up. So get my daughter to school, and then my work day begins. Recently, we've had, tremendous influx in our business, so I've been at our plant a lot more. We had a few till 3 in the morning, because we ship weekly, and the stuff's got to go out. So I've been there late and getting things together. It's exhilarating. It's exciting. We also have a store here in town that we sell our products from. So I'm checking in on that.
Sorry,
I have my mom.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I feed my mom every night for dinner. We give her dinner. She does her breakfast and lunch, but I give her dinner every night, and I catch up, and my daughter catches up with her. And dinner time around 6:30, and we all try and sit down together. It's a nice time to do that. It doesn't always happen, but that's kind of in the forefront of that's what I would like. So we do that. Yeah. And then, I put my daughter to bed around 7:30, and usually I'm reading, catching up on emails and people and connections. And that's my day. They're pretty full. And then when we began the business, we would work till midnight, 1 or 2 in the morning every night. And one of the lovely things about it is that I didn't feel like I had to. I wanted to. I felt like I was being pulled, and that's, I guess, and so I went with it. I said, yes. I am so passionate about this, and I feel like I've been, I don't want to run around a lot, called, but if there was a thing that I was called to do, this was put in front of me, and it's something that I felt like I'd stepped in a river and it pulled me. And so we just went with it. So we worked a tremendous amount, a lot of hours.
Calling. I think you can say that. It's a calling, because I think people don't want to say that because it sounds too woo-woo. And I always say the thing about woo-woo is that it will come and get you at some point, whether you're 20, 30, or 40, or 50, or 60. So you can say what you want about it, because there's a time it's going to come upon you where you're going to reflect on your life, or think, why is this, or why is that, or why am I like this, or what am I going this direction when I really feel I want to go this direction. It will come to you. So if everybody around you is having a woo-woo fest and you're not in it, it's okay, because it's not your time, and it will come to you. Don't run away from them. It's not there yet, but be open that woo-woo benefits you. It's not about...
I totally agree. I'm probably the most woo-woo in our company. And so I actively temper it. You're the ones who say, don't come talking about love and spirit. And so,
I'm the last person to do that, because I found that when I do that, now I'm doing the woo-woo bit, but what I found for me over time, I've spent the last 5 or 10 years getting to know myself. And that was really the woo-woo part, because I didn't have that permission, or give myself that permission to make myself a priority. Yes, I took care of myself, I exercised, I ate right, but my internal self of what I wanted, or who I was as a girl or as a woman, and not just a wife and a this and that, I never really took time to embrace that and ask myself those questions about what I want, because I was always worried about other people being taken care of before myself. But they depend on me to be energized and well and sane, so that I can also reciprocate with them. So that was the hardest part for me. So the woo-woos was, I thought I would end up sitting at home, sleeping all day, contemplating the universe and things like that. And everybody would stop talking to me because I'm just so wacky, but it wasn't working. But it's an embracing of yourself and others. And some people want to sit with them, not their cup of tea, and that's okay. It's not their time. It's not their journey. And I know that my family, when I went on to online work and I closed my club, people go, why are you closing your club? It's a successful club. You got all those members, and I love my members. I love the time, but I felt I had a calling to reach more people, to work with more women, and to really embrace myself as a whole person to what I had to offer, and myself as well. When I became a health coach, it was about healing me. I had to do that first before I could even dare go to anybody else, because I was already doing everybody else at my detriment. So I love that you said that, because I think we just have to take some stillness into our own time and do what we can to love ourselves first. It sounds selfish. It probably is selfish, but it's so necessary, because when Mama says or Mama does, then everybody's fine. Everybody thrives. When the Mama thrives, everybody thrives.
Everybody's happy.
So, Meg, thank you so much for being here today. Thank you.
Wonderful. Yeah, you're doing beautiful work. Thank you for letting me be a part of it.
We'll have to do this again. We'll have to do
I'd
this
love
again
to.
because I want to organize some retreats and some workshops and maybe do a little summit. But this is just an experiment for me, and I am filled with thankfulness and gratefulness and love for having this actually fall into my lap. It was not something I thought, oh, let me do interviews. It just kind of fell organically into my lap, and I have to figure out what to do with it because I have a whole list of people that want to have these kind of conversations. So
Beautiful.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Pleasure.
The website again, please do visit her website. Do you have things that people can engage with you on, or if they write to you, can they write or email you if they have any questions?
Sure. Week challenge group, which is an ongoing, so you don't have to do it.
What's the Facebook group? So if you send that to me,
so,
the Facebook, I will send that and I will post it on the page.
That's great, because we have a 96-page, it's a feed and menus and grocery lists, because just like you said, sometimes it's hard to know, like, what the heck is this? And so we just did it week by week, and I made them very simple, easy to do kind of meals, so you're not spending a ton of time in the kitchen learning this new thing as well as eating differently.
I love it. I love it. So I love it. So everybody right now, and thank you for your time. We kind of went a little bit more today, but that was so interesting for me.
No, it's a good thing. Thank you.
A good
so
thing. Meg, let's stay in touch, and thank you so much. Okay.
You got it.
Everybody outside here, thank you very much for being here with us. I know some of you are going to listen to replay, and you cannot go on live because you're busy, and it's Friday, and we're working mothers and sisters and daughters and everything else. So I commend you for tuning in. We get more people looking in after, and I appreciate that. Until next time, have a super weekend and a wonderful, wonderful, magical May from me here, Marie Piazza. Bye-bye.